This is Ag Matters PM from the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network, your daily recap of the information that affects Iowa's farmers, producers, and consumers right here in the heart of the heartland. With reports from our award-winning team of Dustin Hoffman, Riley Smith, and Mark Magnuson. Now, from the IARN studios in Des Moines, here's Dustin Hoffman.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to Ag Matters PM on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network. I'm Dustin Huffman. Coming up a little later on in the program, we are going to hear from the folks at agmarket.net and run down those closing numbers for you today. But first, we're going to talk with Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig. He's getting ready to head off on a trip to Vietnam and Indonesia on a trade trip from Iowa, and we're going to hear more about what he plans to see and do. You're getting ready to leave here on Friday for a trip to Southeast Asia to do some trade work over there. Tell us a bit about what's going on and what you're going to accomplish during that trade trip.
That's right. I'm leading a state trade mission to Vietnam and Indonesia, two really important markets today for us. And really, it's across the spectrum: grain, corn, soybean, DDGs, soybean meal, but also on the protein side, strong pork and beef markets as well. And we're also looking at an opportunity to expand ethanol exports into both countries. So there's a lot of great things happening, and we see an opportunity for even more growth. So I'm proud to be able to lead a mission on behalf of the state of Iowa and to take some of our farmers and let's go visit customers, answer their questions, and see if we can't sell a little more of what we produce here.
So how important is it for Iowa farmers, one, to connect with their customers across the sea, but also in the same token, have those customers connect with those Iowa farmers and learn more about what we're doing out here?
Critically important. Look, it's important to go, and it's also important to receive. So we like to welcome delegations from around the world as well. We get to show them our farms and what's happening in the state. But when we travel, I've seen this happen a number of times. So we will go visit with a buyer, somebody that may be importing U.S. products, or maybe they aren't. And you watch this dynamic play out where they're asking questions of, why do you do it this way? I've heard a rumor that, or this is what we think happens in the U.S. And our farmers get a chance to say, hey, I'm the 5th and 6th generation farmer on my family farm, and here's how we do things. I have seen countless times that interaction where we're just answering questions, being real people, sharing an experience, but also then for us to hear what are their needs and concerns and things that they're trying to deal with in their respective markets. And so it's really important that we understand each other. We go and we say thank you for the business that we're already doing together, and flat out say, what can we do to expand this relationship? And so there's no substitute for showing up in person and making those connections.
So, Secretary, how good customers have Vietnam and Indonesia been for our Iowa products?
Look, very strong markets both, and we've got trade agreement activity happening in both cases as well. So again, we've got good base for both on the protein, the grain, and the ethanol side actually in each market. And with additional work by the Trump administration to lower tariffs and to ease non-tariff barriers, we think that there's tremendous growth potential. Again, what's interesting about these economies, and there's several of them, these countries across Asia, Southeast Asia, is that they're growing at a tremendous pace. Their populations are growing. Their GDP growth is incredible. Their young populations, their middle class, their working class is expanding. And so what happens when your incomes rise? You also are looking for more diversity on your plate. And oftentimes that then leads to further imports as well. So we compete very well on the global stage on a quality standpoint, from a sustainability standpoint, and a reliability standpoint as well. So those are our calling cards. Strong markets both, and we see upside for both as well. And look, we've got to be playing offense on trade generally, trying to do even more business around the world.
And when we talked last, we were just ahead of President Trump and President Xi meeting, and we've got a framework for a Chinese agreement, but as this has said a little more, it seems like more of a turning down the temperature and at least getting everybody to talk again. But there's still a lot of work to be done.
Obviously, yes. But, good news, because, look, the two presidents met together. This was talked about, right? We know that soybean was an issue that was talked about, soybean, sorghum, ag products generally. And all indicate directionally, this is moving where we need it to go. Obviously, questions. Look, China's been buying a lot of soybean, and buying when they would normally buy from us, buying from South America, other locations. And so there are questions about whether they can actually, or will they, meet their commitments that they made, the 12 million tons of purchases this year, going back to 25 million in future years for several years. As is usually the case with China, I think it's going to be incumbent upon the administration to enforce the terms of that agreement. But look, there's obviously questions, but we need to make sure that we recognize that this is good news. The stonewalling has ended, and we need to keep working, while at the same time recognizing that China market is big, it's important, it's a good place for soybean and pork and other products. We can also be diversifying our trade portfolio. Again, places like Vietnam, Indonesia, Japan, Korea, Philippines, etc. We've got to be playing offense and diversifying as well. That's I think the lesson that we should learn here from the last several years is don't put all your eggs in one basket, but develop these markets wherever they are.
And that again was Iowa Ag Secretary Mike Naig, and it's time to go through the closing markets now, and we're welcoming in Jason Meyer of agmarket.net. And Jason, WASDE report coming out tomorrow, government reopening here today. What did the markets do in response today?
Well, the market is not afraid of the USDA report tomorrow, and we started the day maybe a little bit softer, but as the day progressed here, we saw some fun buying coming in. The soybeans made a new move, our new high on the move, so we're actually at 17-month highs right now. And the corn market, we had some important technical areas of resistance to trade above, and we were able to breach those here today. So corn had really nice, strong close today. And you look at the fundamentals maybe don't justify the nice rally that we're seeing, but we're going to get some of that fundamental data tomorrow in the USDA report.
Are we expecting anything crazy, or is this going to be one of those we'll just look at it and digest it and move on kind of situations? I mean, because it's been 2 months since we've heard anything.
My anticipation is that it could be a pretty volatile report. There's a lot of talk that we're going to see the corn and bean yield numbers come down. So I think that's part of the reason for the rally, along with some dryness in northern Brazil. But if the government doesn't adjust the yield significantly lower, as the market's anticipating, that could be a little bit of a bearish lean. But we could see the market trade 10 up, 10 lower, all in a pretty short period of time. So my anticipation is a lot of volatility ahead of the report tomorrow.
All right, moving over to the livestock side of things. Boy, cattle, speaking of volatility, that's really been an interesting market to watch these last couple of weeks. And looking at cattle and both hogs, how did they fare today?
The cattle and hog market just got creamed here today. So Monday we had the cattle market was limit up and a lot of optimism that maybe we have seen the bottom. And today we pretty much gave everything back on the cattle market. The hog market didn't fare much better either. They made some new lows on the move. And there's a lot of talk that Secretary Bissett was talking, I believe it was yesterday afternoon or evening, that the U.S. is going to allow more egg exports or imports into the country. So there's some talk that we're going to see more Brazilian beef, chicken, pork coming into the U.S. So that's just got the market a little jittery on the livestock, and we've seen liquidity really shrink in the marketplace. So that tells me that some of those traders who are long are just saying, I've had too much of this volatility, and they're just going to sit on the sideline until this volatility goes away.
All right. Well, if folks want to take a look at some of the intel you guys are watching and see some of your reactions to the WASDE report and much more, what is the best place for them to take a look at agmarket.net's information?
Yeah, the best place, just go to the agmarket.net website and look at our intel, or reach out to me or one of my teammates, and we'd be happy to talk to you guys.
All right, Jason Meyer's been our guest here at agmarket.net. Jason, thanks so much for the insight. We'll talk again soon.
Thank you, everyone. Have a great day.
And that's with a check of our market analysis. Let's go ahead and take a look at how the numbers closed on the Iowa Agribusiness Radio Network market screen. At the close, December corn was up 6 1/4 at 441.5. January beans up 13 1/4 at 11.47 even. Soy meal up $7.40 at 328.40. Soy oil 37 cents lower at 50.25. Chicago wheat down 1/4 at 5.35 3/4. Kansas winter wheat up 1/4 at 5.25 3/4. Kansas spring wheat up 3 1/4 at 5.34 even. Minneapolis spring wheat unchanged at 5.69 3/4. Oats up 5 1/2 at 3.11 3/4. On the Merc, December live cattle down $6.27 at 2.19 even. Feeders down $2.02 at 3.37 even. Lean hogs down $2.55 at 78.07. Pork cutouts are up $1.10 at 95 even. And that's been a check of our closing markets, and that brings us to the end of today's show. You can find all our content online at iowaagnet.com, as well as follow us on Facebook, X, and on our YouTube channel. From the IARN studios in Des Moines, I'm Dustin Huffman. For Riley Smith and Mark Magnuson, we thank you for watching. This has been Ag Matters PM.